Have you ever asked yourself, am I truly living? Or just existing inside my small comfort zone? Most of us start our day in a predictable loop. Wake up. Work. Go home. Repeat. It feels comfortable, but is it truly living? In the film The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the character Walter mirrors so many of us. He's an ordinary man, living quietly, yet in his mind there's a whole world of adventure. He dreams of climbing mountains, traveling the world, conquering challenges, but all of it only happens in his imagination. The truth is, we're just like Walter in many ways. Deep down, we all have big dreams, but we're held back by the comfort of the familiar. We fear failure, the judgment of others, or the thought that we're not good enough. Yet, that comfort zone becomes the very wall that stops us from experiencing what could truly change our lives. In today's video, I'll guide you through a journey of discovery. Why is stepping out of your comfort zone so important? And where can you begin to turn your life from routine into a meaningful adventure? This is Different Thinking, a channel where we share new perspectives, modern and practical life philosophies, so you can confidently write your own story. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you'll take away may change the way you see your everyday life. If you find this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to Different Thinking today. As a thank you, I prepared a special gift just for you. A free ebook titled 4 Rules to Breakthrough. You can download it right away in the description or the pinned comment below. Inside are distilled insights to help you start making changes tonight. Don't miss this chance, because even one small habit can shape an entirely different future for you. Let's start with the image of Walter Mitty, an ordinary office worker. Quiet and disciplined, his life isn't wrong, but it's not remarkable either. Day after day, he sinks into the loop of work, bills, and dreams that exist only in his mind. In Walter's head, he's an adventurer, a hero, a man who dares to face danger. But when reality calls, he hesitates, shrinks back, and stays hidden inside his comfort zone. Does that sound familiar? We often sketch out ideal scenarios, but when the real opportunity comes, we hesitate and let it slip away. The comfort zone has a powerful pull. It's like a cozy couch on a rainy afternoon, relaxing, pleasant, but if you stay too long, you'll miss the entire world outside. Walter lived that way for years, and perhaps you and I have, too. The question is, why do we choose to stay in the comfort zone? Partly because of fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. But the truth is, the cost of staying in the comfort zone is even greater. You'll never know who you could become. There's a famous saying, a ship is safe in harbor. But that's not what ships are built for. Ships are meant to sail the seas, just as humans are meant to experience, to grow. Walter forgot that, until life forced him to step out. When we look at Walter, we see our own reflection. How many times have you wanted to try something new, learn a skill, start a business, travel somewhere, but kept putting it off? We comfort ourselves by saying, there will be a better time. But the truth is, the best moment is always now. Walter Mitty isn't a stranger. He's the embodiment of millions of people living safe but forgettable lives. And that's why the next part of his journey becomes so special. When life forces Walter out of his comfort zone, everything begins to change. Walter's turning point came suddenly. Just like how opportunities often knock on our lives, unannounced, unprepared, yet full of challenge. When negative number 25, the most important photo for the magazine, went missing, Walter had no choice but to act. He could no longer sit at his desk and daydream. This was the moment his comfort zone shattered. One small decision, leaving the office and boarding a flight to Greenland, set off a chain of events that would change his life entirely. Sometimes, transformation begins with a step that seems so small. On this journey, Walter faced situations he once only dared to imagine, jumping out of a helicopter into a storm, escaping across the ocean with sharks circling, skateboarding through majestic mountains. These weren't just adventures, they were moments of confronting fear head-on. And have you noticed? Only when we truly face our fears do we realize they're not as terrifying as we thought. Walter discovered that the world was far bigger than the office walls, and that he himself was far stronger than the forgettable man he once believed he was. What's striking is this: without the missing photo, Walter would never have stepped out. Just like many of us, sometimes it takes a shock, an unexpected situation, to force us to change. The question is, do you really have to wait for a crisis before stepping out? Or can you create your own turning point? Think about your life. Is there something you've always wanted to do but never started? Are you waiting for a sign, a special event, before you take action? The truth is, you can begin right now, even with a very small step. Walter began with a plane ride. You can begin with a walk, a conversation, or a simple decision today. The beauty of a turning point is that it doesn't just change your actions. It changes the way you see the world. Walter, from a man who only dreamed, became a man who truly lived. And you can do the same when you choose action over waiting. When we hear the word adventure, many people immediately picture faraway journeys, scaling rugged mountains or traveling the globe. But in truth, adventure is not only found in expensive trips. It lives within the choices you make every single day. It might be the first time you stood up to speak in front of a crowd. It could be the day you decided to pivot into a completely new career path. Or sometimes, adventure is as simple as having the courage to share your true feelings with someone close to you. Life often turns dull when we cling too tightly to our comfort zones. We repeat the same routines, same jobs, same relationships, until we forget just how vast the world really is. Adventure is the doorway to newness. It forces us to observe, to learn, and to grow. Without those leaps into the unknown, would you ever discover that you're stronger than you thought? Think back to an adventurous moment in your own life. Maybe it was something small, like your first job interview, or the first time you traveled far from home alone. At first, your heart raced with anxiety. But once you stepped through it, you felt elevated, as if you'd reached a new level of yourself. Every adventure leaves behind a mark, and when we look back later, we realize those marks are what set us apart. The fascinating thing about adventure is that it never arrives with a guaranteed script. It always carries an element of surprise. And it's that very surprise that makes it exciting. Imagine if you knew everything that was going to happen ahead of time. Would you still call it an adventure? In today's world, many avoid adventure because they fear risk. They choose stability, safety, the smooth road. But the truth is, risk and opportunity always walk hand in hand. The more you avoid, the more you miss out. Successful people are not reckless daredevils. They are calculated risk-takers who still dare to step off the beaten path. A clear example is business. Every new product launch is an adventure. No one can guarantee its success. But if you never try, you'll never know. Likewise, in personal life, if you never open your heart to others, will you ever have the chance to find true friendship or love? What matters is not how many adventures you've had, but what you learned from them. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, you become richer in experience, richer in emotion, richer in confidence. And that's what makes life worth living. So ask yourself, what will your next adventure be? You may not need to travel far. It might begin with a new idea, a conversation you've never dared to start, or a single different step you take tomorrow. And remember, adventure isn't about chasing danger. It's about embracing challenges to unlock new possibilities. Each journey you choose becomes a piece of the puzzle of your life. And it's the unusual pieces that make the whole picture vibrant. Every adventure, whether big or small, leaves us with a lesson. Sometimes the lesson doesn't reveal itself immediately. It may take years of reflection to see its true meaning. But it is precisely those experiences outside our comfort zone that become the raw material for genuine growth. Growth doesn't come from how many years we've lived, but from how we've lived through each moment. A person may be 40 years old and still not truly mature, because they've always avoided challenges. Meanwhile, someone at the 25th of May carry a wealth of wisdom because they never hesitated to step into difficult situations. What's fascinating is that every lesson is deeply personal. You can read hundreds of books, listen to thousands of lectures, yet some truths only sink in when you experience them yourself. It's like learning to ride a bike. You can take instructions from others, but only after falling and getting back up will you truly learn how to balance. Along the path of growth, failure is inevitable. We often fear failure, treating it as the end. But in truth, failure is simply a mirror reflecting the adjustments we need to make. The most successful people in the world share a common trait. They've failed more than most. But they've also learned faster and refused to give up. Think back to a time when you failed, whether in your career or in a relationship. The pain was real, But over time, you realized that moment taught you something invaluable. Maybe it taught you humility, how to listen better, or even how to love yourself more. Another aspect of growth is the ability to see beyond yourself. In youth, we often think everything revolves around us. But after enough challenges, we learn to place ourselves in others' shoes, to empathize, and to understand that everyone has their own battles. This is emotional maturity, the kind that helps us live more harmoniously with the world. A clear example lies within family. As children, we often blame our parents for not understanding us. But once we step into adulthood and carry responsibilities, we begin to appreciate the worries, sacrifices, and unconditional love they carried for us. Growth is when we learn to look back with gratitude. Lessons and growth are also cumulative. No one matures overnight. It's like building a house. Each experience, each mistake, each success adds another brick to the foundation. Over time, when you look back, you'll see a solid structure built from everything you've lived through. So don't shy away from new challenges. No matter the outcome, you will always gain something of value. Sometimes it's not what you expected, but it's exactly what you needed to move forward. Here's a question for you. In the past year, how have you grown? What have you learned from your setbacks? From your small wins? And how will you use those lessons to step into the next chapter of your journey? Growth is not a destination, but an endless journey. Every day, we have the chance to learn something new, to become a better version of ourselves. And ultimately, it is this very journey that makes life meaningful. After walking through Walter Mitty's journey, we can clearly see a simple yet powerful message. Life isn't measured by how often we dream, but by how often we dare to act. Every step outside our comfort zone, no matter how small, is a brick laid for meaningful change. We often wait for the perfect moment to begin, when we have more money, more time, or more confidence. But the truth is, the perfect moment never arrives. The best time is always right now. Walter teaches us that vibrancy lies in every experience. In those moments when we are afraid but move forward anyway. In the times our hearts race as we step into unfamiliar ground. It is those very experiences that make us feel truly alive. So I want to ask you, what's keeping you stuck in your comfort zone? Is it fear of failure? Or worry about others' opinions? Remember this. Everyone is busy fighting their own battles. Their gaze doesn't define your worth. Try something new today. Write down a small goal. Take a bold step, or simply speak aloud a thought you've kept hidden. You'll be surprised at how the world expands with just one small decision. And before we close, let me remind you, if you found this video valuable, subscribe to 2 Dewey Kak Be It today. As a thank you, I prepared a free gift for you, an ebook titled 4 Rules to Breakthrough. You can download it in the description or pinned comment below. Inside are condensed insights designed to help you start making changes tonight. Don't miss this opportunity, because even one small habit can shape a different future for you. And if you'd like to keep exploring, click the playlist link in the description below to watch the full journey. Finally, remember this. The world beyond your comfort zone is always bigger than you imagine. And perhaps, the most wonderful thing in your life is waiting there, if only you dare to step out.